Greetings and welcome back to the second episode of Business Building Blocks. We're excited to have you join us for this Streamcast web series that's designed to inspire and empower entrepreneurs to navigate the uncertainty, the unknown, and also build a better future. By my side, I have the absolute pleasure of hosting my friend André, co-founder and CEO of WingDriver, who is transforming the driving and mobility industry with a safety-first approach. And joining us from Chicago, USA, is Tricia, Managing Director at TECHSTARS, woman, investor, founder, and all things in between. In this episode, we will dive into the journey of a startup, the differences and challenges of the US market, and what's the TECHSTARS programs all about, and how you can put yourself in the front door. But first things first, how are you both feeling today? Tricia.
I'm feeling great. It's a new year, new good things are coming.
Yes, André?
I'm great also. Very, very cool to be here, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Tricia, maybe we'll start with you, and it's easy to recognize what you bring to the entrepreneurial arena. I mean, I'll start with something, but top 20 founders of color by Conscious Company magazine, Hispanic Entrepreneur of the Year by the United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, top 20 change makers in blockchain, and the top 100 fintech leader among so many others, even serving, and I must highlight it, as a White House presidential innovation member. You're the incarnation of what it means to be a serial entrepreneur. So I think I'll start with this, being eager to know your answer. In fact, you must see pitch decks all the time, right? What sets one apart from the others? And could you single out the best ideas you have seen recently?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, thank you for the flattering setup of myself. I really appreciate that. I need to hang out with you more. Sometimes I don't always feel like that. Being a founder and an investor is really hard, especially these days. Yes, so I see, honestly, I probably look at 1,000 to 1,500 decks a year. Like I actually read those, and I'm constantly, I generally prefer to meet virtually with founders. Like I want to meet you face to face or through Zoom so I can get to know you rather than just looking through a deck. It's easy to just click through really quickly. To be honest, what we want to see when we look at a deck is a super compelling opportunity. So every investor is different, but we generally all want to see a huge market opportunity and that you've discovered a really unique problem. And it's good to have competition because I then know that there's an opportunity in the space and you're not some like really super far out crazy person. However, I love the crazy ideas. I like the people who are doing things that nobody else is trying to solve. I like the really, really hard, complex problems, the huge global problems that we are all up against. I like founders who take risk, who are super passionate, and who have been doing something for a long time because they really want to solve that problem. So it's sometimes hard to pick that up in a deck. And so a deck gives me baseline information. I understand what you're trying to do, the market, the industry, and your traction. And from that, I'll know right away whether I want to talk to you or not. Because if you're building a social media app or a food company, it's likely that I just probably can't help you and I'm not that interested. And so maybe there's another investor I know I can push you to, but generally I like things in the deep tech world. Founders who are solving complex scientific or engineering problems, which is what really excited me about WingDriver and working with them.
Yes, that's just great to hear. So I would say that it's quite interesting. So you believe that we should invest more in people and not just a company, not just a business. As a founder yourself, it's quite important, or so much important, the person, the human behind the business.
Yeah, and I think that's really in large part driven by the stage. So I invest at pre-seed, and that really means a person or maybe two people or three who have created an idea to some sort of or solution to a problem. they don't have much to show for it. Maybe they have a prototype, maybe they have some customers, they validated, they have signals that there is some sort of product market fit potentially. But as a founder, I know they're going to go through massive hurdles and a lot of bumps in the road. And I know that there's a really high chance that they're probably going to pivot, and they could pivot to a totally different business. And that's why for me, it's about the founder. I want to back people that I think are really good humans. You know, if you look at my portfolio of the companies that I work with, like Andre, for example, like he's an awesome person. He's a good human being. He's someone I would want to just hang out with. And so those are the people I gravitate towards, people who have good hearts, who are building something for a reason, and that I know have a lot of grit and can deal with all the inevitable ups and downs that are going to come their way.
I think it just makes sense, Tricia. Thanks. Let me take this moment to ask André about Wing Driver. What are you doing in Wing Driver? What are you trying to accomplish or to get done?
Yeah. So the goal is to reduce the people that die or are injured due to car accidents or truck accidents or whatever. So the goal is to change that by assisting the driver in real time, by alerting you if you fall asleep at the wheel, or giving you a beep when you are texting on the phone and you are driving. That is not secure. So we want to change that. We want to actively change the human behavior when they are driving using your smartphone. And that is the difficult thing. It's making AI and computer vision to work in a device that everyone has. That is an Android smartphone or an Apple smartphone, because everyone uses one. So virtually we can reach all the drivers in the world with this strategy.
Okay, it just feels normal and necessary for not only Portugal but the entire world, of course. You've been in TECHSTARS in one of their programs. Was it your first stop? And why did you believe it was important for Wing Driver or for you as a founder to go and be in a TECHSTARS program, André?
So in the end, this is all about network of investors, network of people that is around you that will help you to succeed, to reach your goals, to reach your client or reach that specific investor. And TECHSTARS has an amazing network of investors, of people that work in companies that are useful. And in the end, that is our main objective. It's if we are alone, we will not reach far. If we are together with other people in our network to try to solve this problem at the world level, that is our objective. It's the right way to go. And TECHSTARS has that amazing network to support us. And on top of that, it was awesome to meet Tricia and to work with Tricia. Even nowadays, we are always working and pushing hard in order to fulfill our needs and to grow our team and to grow our company.
Yes, and maybe I'll take this to get back to you, Tricia, and back to the basics. What is TECHSTARS and why are your programs so an international reference in terms of supporting and preparing startups and entrepreneurs to really succeed? So what are you leveraging and how are you doing it?
Yeah, great question. So TECHSTARS is the largest and most active early stage investor in the world. So what does that mean? It means we write the most checks, generally first checks in tech companies, and we invest through an accelerator model. So an accelerator model means we surround a company with a lot of resources, investors, mentors, talent. We take them through lots of workshops, how to build your financial model, how to think about your key performance indicators, how to manage your cap table, how to build culture in your team, how do you scale, how do you go to market, and we do that in 3 months. So like 2 years worth of programming pushed aggressively into a very short time frame. And from there, the goal is like, let's, kind of tear the business down, build it back up. You learn so much. Oftentimes companies pivot while they're in TECHSTARS because they learn so much. And once you finish the program, you kind of go off, you go fundraise, and you keep building. And that's the goal. I came to TECHSTARS as a managing director because I went through TECHSTARS. I took my company through TECHSTARS London, where I got to work with Barclays Bank. We were a financial technology company, and I wanted access to the bank, and I wanted access to a huge network and everything that TECHSTARS could offer. For me, like as a human, it was the best 3 months of my life. I learned so much. I became a better human being. I became a better founder, and all of that experience was just so contagious that I was like, I would love to go back and do this all the time. Work with amazing founders who want to change the world and help them get a little bit closer to realizing their goals and solving these big problems. So, we as an organization operate accelerators around the world because we believe great founders can come from anywhere. I run a program in Chicago. I ran a program in Tennessee called Industries of the Future, which is where I brought Andre and Wing Driver, which was focused on deep tech. The Chicago accelerator I run is focused on artificial intelligence. And then I also run another program in Latin America focused on financial technology. So yeah, we're operating around the world. We invest in thousands of founders a year. It's harder to get into a TECHSTARS than it is to Harvard. So, to give you a sense, when I go out and look for companies for each accelerator, which holds 12 spots, I look at about 3,000 to 4,000 companies, and then I meet with about 500 of those founders, and then I invest in only 12 of them. So it's super competitive, and it speaks to you as a founder, and it's a really positive signal to the market for investors.
It really seems competitive and incredible at the same time, of course. I would ask, is there a specific stage, we are considering a Portuguese startup, perhaps, a specific stage that the startup should consider to apply to a TECHSTARS, or it depends on the program available?
It depends, but generally we're pre-seed seed. So, most of the companies I work with maybe have raised a few 100,000. They might be generating a little bit in revenue, but we run accelerators with corporate partners. So there could be a unique opportunity. Like, for example, I went through one with Barclays Bank. There could be a unique opportunity for a fintech who's like, I really want access to the bank. I want to do a proof of concept with them. And that increases my chances rather than not doing this accelerator. So maybe a slightly later stage business would be willing to go through a TECHSTARS. But we invest in the company, we take equity. And so you have to be at the right point in time. You could be too late, and you definitely could be too early to participate.
Okay, makes sense. And Andrea, in fact, we have discussed this before. It's not easy to go to the US, to enter the US market for many reasons. But you're there, thriving. What would you say are the main challenges for any startup entering the US market today? And how did TECHSTARS, if so, help you to do that or give that step?
Yeah, it's super interesting, this question, because in the end, when we launch Wing Driver, we know from the day one that we need to be in US, that we need to raise capital in US, that we need to have US as a main target market. Why? I feel that the market is much more. It takes much more risk. It pushes us as an entrepreneurs to put the product on the market fast. So it's like, as we were talking, it's not fake it until you make it, but you need to work hard, and that is a very good market to make early deployments, early tests. And even on the other side, the cultural side about investment, they take much more risk than us as Europeans, or at least I feel that, or us as a Portuguese. So I feel much more, investors much more open to believe on what is our dream and what is our small child that we want to grow. And in Portugal, they are much more conservative. So it's a little bit more difficult to raise capital, for example. When we think about us as a deep tech or an AI tech company, that you need like 1 to 3 years to develop an MVP, to do something on the market. You need people that agree with your vision and not so much on what you have. It's like an MVP that changes everything. And I think that is the main thing. That's why we grow, and we think always US first because of the type of our company, I think.
Okay, it makes a lot of sense, and that's a discussion that we hear every day. US, EU, how each one of these manage the startup ecosystem. Tricia, I know that you've been on both sides of the arena. What would you say are the main strengths and differences of either US versus EU? Maybe you have a position on that, and it would be interesting to know it.
Yeah, I think that geographically, areas are industry focused. So we knew that in the fintech world, London was the capital. You could argue that New York City is really great, but for what we were specifically building in emerging markets, London made sense because it had gave us access to investors who were excited about emerging markets and who understood financial technology. Um, I would say for Andre that the US is the capital for AI by far. And so there's a lot of investors, angels and VCs who are deploying money super fast. And so it really depends on what you're building and where you're building. For me, it was a no-brainer that Wing Driver needed to come to the US. They needed to build deep enterprise relationships in the US to deploy their technology, and they needed to build up a VC and angel network in the US. But again, like every region has different expertise. Tel Aviv is known for great cybersecurity. So if you're a cybersecurity company, you could argue you could be in San Francisco or in Tel Aviv. It really depends on what you're building and where you're looking to deploy.
It makes sense, and I getting back to AI, I would say, and this is particularly relevant considering Wing Driver's solution is powered by AI. Um, I think we can all agree that we're just at the beginning of what AI will really be and become, right? But we can also see, and recently Europe just launched the AI Act. We're focusing a lot on ethical AI, try to legislate on it, and we see a lot this expression that US builds and the EU regulates. I think it relates a lot with what we see and the cultural side that Andre was talking about. Do you think it's like that, Tricia? Is EU getting behind because we're so focused on regulate, control, making it ethical without having a specific application or trying to build something? And the US are front runners because, in fact, they are creating, they are putting it on paper and building something.
Yes and no. I mean, regulation is good. It's important. It's there to protect consumers. And so you could argue that our lack of regulation in the US is going to lead to businesses and consumers getting hurt or upset. Whether we regulate quickly or not, we're bound to run into a number of problems. That's just what happens when you have novel technology. The difficulty with regulation is that AI is moving so unbelievably fast that we literally could not regulate it. And what concerns me even more as someone who has worked within the federal government is our federal employees don't know or understand the technology. They have zero understanding. Elected officials have no sense of what's going on, and so it's hard to regulate what you don't understand. And I really believe in the sandbox type of environment. I think that we need to drive more innovation. We need to build. We need to have systems in place so that companies, young startups, have the ability to go and build. My fear right now is that we have a few key enterprise leaders that are going to create an oligopoly around AI. And if we regulate, it's going to impact the startups and their ability to go build, not the large enterprise clients who are generating a lot of money from their AI products. So, a lot of these enterprise players would prefer to have regulation because that means no startups can come in and take their lunch. So, it's so hard to like. This is going to be a constant conversation. Do I think the EU is regulating too quickly? Probably. But to be honest, like AI is going to lead in the US. we're aggressively moving in large part too because we're trying to compete with China. And from the federal perspective, like the US government really wants to win this race with China. And so I think they're less likely to regulate for that reason.
That's quite interesting, and it reflects for me this cultural approach. You are trying to win something, and many times in Europe we are trying to manage something. We have a certain I don't know. It's hard for us to assume that we want to win something, right? And even that, we feel a lot in the startup ecosystem here in Europe and in Portugal. That, for instance, failure it's a negative thing, of course, because we failed. But in the US, we see you gain a lot of experience from these failures. In Portugal and in Europe, sometimes it's not like that. So it's like a stamp saying you couldn't do it, so get out of the way. But not with you, Andre. Wing Driver is booming, is going. You're having a lot of AI, so you're leading the way. Next steps, how are you managing this? Portugal, Europe, US? What are you planning to come up next?
Yeah. So it's been a crazy ride, definitely. Since TechStars we learned a bunch. So imagine in the beginning, I don't know if you know, but in the first month you meet with 100 people, maybe 20 meetings after meeting about pitching your startup, and you learn a bunch. And with that, you pick up all those learnings and you put on your business. It means that you change your business accordingly to many different ideas, so it's gonna fulfill the needs of the market much easier. So we are exactly on that point: product market fit, selling technology. So our MVP and our product, our SDK is ready. We are having pilots actually with one of the biggest ride sharing companies in Europe. We are starting to deploy deployments of our SDK in US already. So we are starting. The train already departed, and now we are in the second station, that is put the product on the market, solve the problem, and go for the next objectives. So it's been super interesting 2023, and 2024 it will be awesome for sure.
That's incredible, and it's quite good to hear. You've done the TechStars program when?
In May, 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 June, July.
Of
Last year,
2023.
2022, yeah.
That's great. So it's been fast, right?
Yeah.
So a couple months, and you're thriving there. So it's quite good, quite good. So thank you so much. I don't know, Tricia, can you give us something on the TechStars? I believe that many startup founders will see this. Many have the dream of applying or getting to a TechStars program, perhaps not in the US, but in Berlin, in London, in somewhere around. André speaks a lot about the mentorship, the guidance that he got from the TechStars. What would be your idea to pass to these founders that will watch this webinar?
So what I got through Techstars was what I call like a multiplier effect, that you meet, like Andre said, let's call it 100 mentors. Each of those mentors now has a new network for you. So it just multiplies more and more and more. And the more as a founder, you put your vision out there, what you're building, the more the universe will come back and support you. And so you need to be talking about it. You need to be proactive. You need to be selling constantly. You need to be learning. And that's exactly what TechStars is for. So if you are based in Portugal, if you're based in, another country, we look at companies all around the world. I bring companies to Chicago or other places that are global. So, don't feel like you're in one market and you can't go to another. I would likely say that you should be in one of the larger, like London, maybe even Berlin or US markets based on what you're doing. So apply, reach out to Techstars, find the accelerator that excites you, and talk to the team. The sooner the better. Don't wait to just apply, get talking to them immediately.
Andre, any final remarks you want to add?
Yeah, one of the things that I think it's awesome. It's, hey Tricia, I have this problem. Let's meet to solve this problem. This is key, because in the end, you have a business partner, may I say, or better than a business partner, of course, that can support you in any problem that you have, right? So I think that is a key lesson, and a key thing that I think is super useful. You have a problem, you have more people to talk. And actually, Tricia, we talked a lot about our problems, and to find the solutions that best fits our current situation or whatever. So I think it's a very good opportunity for startups and for entrepreneurs. You feel more engaged, not engaged, but you feel you have more people around you, and that is very important.
That's quite good, and I would highlight the number of times that Tricia said the word human. Andre, people. Tricia even said the universe will give back to you. So it's not just business, it's not just money, equity, private equity, financials. There's a lot of human touch here, and that's very good to hear. And it makes a lot of sense, getting back to the basics that make things really work. So I want to give a huge thank you to both of you, Tricia in Chicago, Andre here by my side. I think it was great for you to share your insights on these topics. Keep an eye, all of you, for more exciting programs of TECHSTARS near you or in the US. I'm sure that Tricia and Andre will be happy to that you reach out to support and guide in whatever they can. So thank you so much, both of you, and join us for the next time to continue to explore the business building blocks that will help you succeed in this modern world. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye bye, Tricia. Thank you a lot.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Tricia.
guys. We all good?
Thank you. Yes,
it was awesome.
it was awesome.
Okay, great. I love that you have like a studio set up. I didn't know it was this
Yeah.
legit. So
Yes,
awesome.
Yes, it's true. It's really happening here.
Me too. I was afraid.
That's really nice.